capital outlays, you've got a total
We'll rise for.
We'll get to the public hearing first.
Oh, we have public hearing on this?
Yeah,
Oh,
public
sorry.
hearings first.
Okay, okay, I guess we'll open the public hearing. And so I guess, okay, Bob, you can ask questions in a formal manner, I guess, if that's the.
Well, it's, yeah, obviously, I'm not against the police department, but I just, I'm concerned that at the end of the year, we're talking about, you know, were we that far out of whack on the estimate that they spent 36, 50, 57, almost $58,000 more than the budget was for?
Well,
I mean, that you've got, I mean, that seems like a pretty big misestimate. And I wonder what's going on.
So on that, part of that, you're talking the last figure, the ambulance non-reverting? Is that the one you're talking about?
Well, you got the LECEF, which is Law Enforcement Continuing Education Fund.
Okay.
What exactly does that do? I mean, is this where we're sending the officers to training schools?
Well, that has more than just that. One of the items that is in that group was that Citizens First, the equipment that was voted on by the council for the radios, that,
Oh, yeah.
that large.
we spent 25,000 or
I
roughly,
think,
or
yeah, it was close to
that we had
25,000. Yeah.
to update software and firmware for radios to be able to communicate with Ohio. Because we couldn't communicate we were reaching the point where we weren't going to be able to communicate with Dark County.
Right, I remember that now, yeah.
Yeah, I understand
And
that. So that part of that is.
that was in that was basically an unknown expense at budget time. So, yeah.
And then another portion of it, I mean, we did have a lot more physicals for either officers coming in or potential officers that may not have even made it all the way. They still had to go through the physicals and we still had to pay for those.
Okay, all right.
Do you have any other questions? Okay. If there's nothing else, close the public hearing at 6:05. And all rise for the pledge and the prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, be with us this evening as we make decisions and move our community forward. Thank you for the great year we've had. Aside from challenges, we're very blessed here. Give us your guidance in the year to come to conduct the business of Union City as should be fit. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
I don't do that a little offhand, but okay. Jan. That's been a while since I've done that. Amy, you can take roll.
All right, Gary Elliott.
Here.
Bob Leahy.
Here.
Jason Burr.
Here.
Tim Heiss.
Here.
Tito is absent.
Okay. no presenters, don't really have department reports. Amy, do you have anything to add to anything?
No, the other, I mean, obviously this is a little bit different than our typical meeting because we did not have the minutes and docket on here. So we were pretty much just going for the additional appropriations.
Yeah, so we'll have the minutes from the previous meeting and this meeting
Correct.
in the next meeting,
Yes.
the first of the year. So to clarify that for the public. And, council members, anybody have anything? Jason? Bob?
Nope.
Gary? Okay, I don't have anything to add. Steve's not here. Okay, no old business, so get right to new business resolution 2025-R-06, additional appropriations. And any other questions or comments on the public hearing?
I move that we adopt resolution 2025-R-06, additional appropriations on the first reading.
We have a first, is there a second?
I'll second.
Jason, second. All, would you take a roll call?
Okay, and this isn't a resolution, so it is just one reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Gary Elliott,
Yes.
Bob Leahy.
Yes.
Jason Brewer.
Yes.
And Tim Heiss.
Yes. Okay. Discussion of potential changes to employee handbook. I can't remember just exactly how familiar everybody, the rest of you guys are, and the issues that we've had with particularly sick leave, vacation time, so forth. But we're in need of addressing this. We've really, this is kind of a rush up as far as approaching this, and we really need to get input from our HR contractor to fully finish this or to do this, but so if there's questions or comments, we can have discussion about this.
Do we want to talk about it by section, or do we just want to how do you want to go through it?
Well,
Like each, like sick leave and then vacation and then,
I don't know, that's, if you've got the markup copy, I assume. I mean, we really start however anybody wants to, or whatever you want to approach. And Amy and Mark can speak to it better than I can, certainly. But I've got some discussion in it.
Just the bottom line of it is the policy that how it's currently wrote is in some of it's in hours, some of it's in days, some of it's in days and hours in the same section. So it causes massive confusion when you look at it as days, because it's wrote for an 8-hour employee, like Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. So when you call it a day, what is a day? A day at the police department is 8 or 12. A day at the fire department is 24, and a day at the street department is 8. So if you do the math of everything, it's not real equal across the board.
Right.
Like a vacation day means what?
Right.
So if you're a fireman, you get 24 hours in your vacation day, or you get a sick day. Is it 24 hours or is it 8 hours? Because the sick policy is the one that's wrote in days and hours. So it causes massive confusion when it comes down to it. And I don't know that it's really fair that one department over another department gets a day of 12 hours versus a day of 24 hours or 8 hours, because you're getting more time off. You're getting paid more time off. So it's massive confusion in the policy, period. I did submit it from the police and fire department, only because that was my wheelhouse, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it almost needs to be looked at across the board to address it for all employees so that it's fair and equitable across the board. But it's not right now. And the problem I have is, like, if someone takes a sick day at the fire department, what does that mean? Is it 8 hours or is it 24? If it's only 8, who's paying the other 16?
Yeah.
But they also work 24s, so I don't know that the accrual rate is, in my opinion, is not where it needs to be, so that it's fair for the 8-hour employee and the 24-hour employee. So I get what they're saying, but I have a hard time turning in payroll and someone takes a 24-hour shift off and their bank's only getting docked 8 hours for a 24-hour shift when they're getting paid for 24.
Yeah.
So, and it's
something.
caused a ruckus because I'm not submitting sick time of a 24-hour shift as 8 hours out of your bank because you're getting paid for 24. The problem is that means everyone else gets more sick days because they have to burn 24 in on the flip side, we only work 2 days a week, so a sick day gives you 5 days off.
Right.
So it's just, the way the policy is currently written is just awful. And I feel like it's put me in a predicament ethically to submit time, but it's not what they've always been used to either. Which I understand where they're coming from, but there's a 16-hour gap in these, and who's paying that?
Yeah.
I did submit it more, revamp the entire thing across the board. Because, like I said, I think our accrual rate is short of the standard accrual rate. I think our vacation time is short of the standard vacation time. The other piece that, and I know Amy put in there that it probably wouldn't work for the budget, but is vacation time. Every year, the vacation time regenerates at the beginning of the year, and if you don't use it, you lose it. Well, someone that's responsible and keeps a little bit of their vacation time just in case they need it, now is in a position to lose it at the end of the year every year. Or I'm down a bunch of employees all of December because everyone's using it, which isn't good either.
That doesn't make sense.
So, and the way the policy is currently written is a use it or lose it. So it's a juggling. Some people have no problem using all of it. Other people, they do. And then you get to the end of December, well, how do I tell someone they can't have time off when it would be different if it rolled over, but it doesn't. So I'm in a position of either I tell them no and they lose it, or we run short, or I have to create overtime. It's just it's not set up right.
So part of the thing with rolling it over, because I mean, I understand what you're saying because we've run into the same thing, but that's where we need to try to encourage people. You've got to take some of your time earlier in the year, but trying to roll over a lot of hours, I'm afraid is going to that could be another nightmare all up on its own. Because just trying to get,
I
You know,
think
I
we
think-
could easily budget 40 hours per person into the next pay. The way I wrote it wasn't, depending on how much you had, you could cash out 40 and roll over 40. I can understand if we could do one or the other. Maybe not both. I think both would become confusing.
Yeah. I was thinking to cash out, say if they had 3 days left or something, they could cash that out before the end of the year or something.
Something.
Yeah.
It's just it just, especially with a 24/7 operation, and, they take one day off and you're in trouble. Now I've got to bring the other people in to cover it overtime. I got, all kinds of stuff. So I don't know what it looks like or how it would look, but I feel like that has to be one of the things that's addressed too, is because it just puts us in a bad spot at the end of the year every year. I mean, it's like when it's their time. I get it. Like we try to encourage it, but it's their time as well.
Yeah.
The other one was the accrual of vacation time based on longevity. I adjusted those up, changed the years a little bit. I think the stuff in red is what is currently in the policy.
Yeah.
yes, that's more in line with what's currently in there.
I think the rest of the stuff, the holidays were all the same. Holiday compensation was the same. The only issue that I had with the holiday was a floating holiday. People would get creative and use their floating holiday on a day that they were working.
Yeah,
Well, that means a whole new thing.
Right.
So that goes from an 8-hour holiday to, in a 24-hour situation, a 17-hour holiday. If you work day shift at the police department, it could be a 12-hour holiday on top of what you're working. I think that needs to be specified for a day off at a rate of 8 hours. I get why they're doing it. And that policy doesn't really
Can I ask
benefit
a
from that.
question?
yes.
Mark,
Bob,
at the end of the changes, are the police officers going to be better off or worse off? I mean, I'm concerned that one of our moral officers might lose a benefit, because it seems to me like we're pretty much underpaid now.
Right. I don't think it's going to affect the police department. It's going to affect the fire department.
I'll let somebody else speak up for them. I mean, I'm not against the fire department, don't misunderstand,
Right.
but my particular concern is the police department.
Right.
And I've always thought and still think that they're not, they're underpaid. And I know we have a financial problem in a small community, but I don't want to take anything away from what they already have.
This would increase their time off because the accrual rate would be greater in vacation than what we currently
I
have.
like that.
The sick time, I've been doing payroll for 2 years on the police department, and it's hour for hour across the board. So that's not going to change.
Yeah.
There was an additional 4 hours of personal time that was going to add to it, and then the accrual of sick time would have been increased as well. Right now it's a half a day, whatever that means,
Mhm.
with a maximum of 48 hours a year of sick time that you can accrue. The way that's wrote is 4.6 hours for every 80 hours worked. So it would be around, not really 90-something hours of sick time accrued with the same cap of 400 hours. Because I think you do need to cap it out for budget reasons. I have 900 hours of sick time because we don't have a cap on the Ohio side. So, we
Now,
don't.
when I retired from the federal government, I had months of sick time, and they put it on my annuity.
Right.
So instead of having 35 years, I had 36 years.
Right. Yeah, I think there's some sort of math problem they can do with that.
Yeah, well, I don't think we can operate like the feds, but the state also has a better rollover plan
Right.
than the city does. I just want to be sure that
Yeah,
there are officers.
it'll increase things across the board, but that kind of, I feel like it's currently written for an 8-hour employee versus a 24-hour employee, so I think there needs to be a little bit of increase through the sick time and through the, really the vacation time is longevity driven. I feel like that's a perk not only for the employee, but it's a perk for the city as well, to have people that stay and get the extra benefits of being here. I know they get longevity pay, but things like that make a big difference, I feel like.
That's one of the perks.
Is everybody the same as far as holidays and
Well,
police department, the street department?
they,
Are they all different or?
well, the where you get into, when you compare, say, street department, wastewater, the municipal departments that work a 5-day-a-week shift, Monday through Friday, then the vacation days hit them all the same. The police and particularly fire, there's always a difference, and there's always kind of a trade-off. There's no real fix for it in that
360.
when you're a firefighter and you're working 2 24-hour shifts, the holidays don't necessarily hit your work days. So how are those holidays been paid out in terms of
If
the
they
people?
don't work, they get 8 hours. If they do work, they get the hours that they worked that day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that goes back to the street department then gets 8 hours for the day. The fire department gets 17 hours for the day because they work 24 and 17 of it's on the holiday.
Yeah.
And then the police department could be an 8, 10, or 12-hour shift. That's, that,
So
I feel like we have to do that because they're working.
there's always going to be some compromise to this in terms of that, which is part of that's going to be pretty much anywhere. There's going to be a compromise. The choice of occupation blends into that. But,
The other flip side is on vacation, for a fireman to take off a 24-hour shift, because vacation is written in days again.
Yeah.
What X amount of hours, they have to take 2.5-ish, somewhere in there, vacation days for their 1 day off. Versus we can bump the hours up a little bit and it's just hour for hour. I don't know how they do it over here in the city building, how they decipher all of it, to be honest with you. Because some of the banks are in days, some of them are in hours. No, it just,
I know Cindy's always relied on the reports, and she pulls her hair out every time there's a holiday. It's a nightmare trying to figure it out.
I just think an hour for hour exchange keeps everyone.
Some other communities must have figured this out.
I pulled the ones in the surrounding area and it's hour for hour. Hour for hour for sick time, hour for hour vacation time, hour for hour personal time. Because I think that's in days. Personal days with a maximum of so many hours again. So, and that's one of those that regenerate.
Well, my biggest concern at this, as where we sit today in terms of this, is being budget neutral, because of the fact that we've got a 2026 budget that we've approved, and we're trying to try to adhere to that, and I'm willing to entertain changes that might enhance some, but we also have to be able to analyze where that puts us budget-wise, because as we've just done with our additional appropriations, we've able to do this, but 2027's going to be tight. 26 may not be terrible, but the forecast for 27, 28 doesn't look good. Last I knew, is that correct, Amy?
That's what I've
In terms
heard.
of general. So
I think even like the sick time though, you're paying it out anyway right now at a rate that's not legit. They're getting paid for a 24-hour shift no matter what. It's what the bank looks like. So I don't feel like the sick time, having a little bit of boost in it, is not going to change the end game, the budget. I think the increase in vacation could, depending on where they're at longevity wise.
Okay, now when you say the payout on the sick, I'm not sure if I'm following you. Because
Well,
when, on separation right now, sick
Not the
time
payout.
isn't paid out.
Sorry, when they take the paycheck, if you take sick time,
Okay,
because no matter what, it's getting paid out. But what it does to the bank is a completely different thing. But when they're taking off, they're taking off.
Is it all calculated through a computer, or how's that work?
when you say is that, what are you talking about, the different
Hours
departments?
of, well, hours of work, vacation pay, and sick
Well-
leave pay.
They,
So if you type in, let's say his name,
well, each department seems to have their own. I
own
mean,
little
you know,
niche.
a lot of the employees have the old time cards,
Yeah, where they ring in and out.
and Place and Fire, they've got spreadsheets and they've got different systems that they clock in and out on. So, you know, they're different. And even between the fire and the police, those don't.
So it
you
don't
have
go
to
through a
stop and look.
computer.
Yeah, they're not
more-
exactly the same, no. And then they have to be entered every time.
I think the way the sick time and stuff worked before was really null and void with the police and fire department because they were technically salaried employees. So like a sick day was a sick day was a sick day. You're still getting paid the same, right? So I don't think that it mattered.
That's why the
Then-
policy was what it was, and now it's this,
Right.
the-
And now that
the hourly.
They're
thing.
not salary employees and they're hourly employees. It's caused a stir.
Yeah, when they were just salary employees, those days it didn't
Right.
affect, but now that they're, I mean, to a certain extent, it may have still been there, it just didn't
Right.
generate the conflict.
Because it was just a straight pay.
How long ago was that? You remember?
It's not,
4 or 5 years maybe.
it's not real far back, but it's within the last 5 years, yeah. And I don't remember when exactly that was an issue.
That threw kind of
That was,
a wrench in it that you can't really do it the same way you used to do it because it's not the same anymore.
yeah. I still think there was a problem then, though, but with that, just by the, but it's always, there's always a give and take on this. I'd really like to get the input on HR as far as where we're at with this.
And
Myself.
I did send all of that over to them. And I asked, I know in the past, because I did ask Jan one time, I said, why don't we have separate handbooks? You know, why can't we just, I mean, because your situation is so unique. I mean, it's not like a street employee. But, so I threw it out to them to ask, you know, is it still something the state frowns on, or can we do that? I mean,
Yeah.
Put your finger in the hell of a big problem.
I don't know. An hour is an hour is an hour to all the rest of the ones that I've pulled in the surrounding area. So I don't. Ours is just written horribly. And if that's the same HR group, then they obviously didn't understand it.
Yeah, I don't think this has
The
been
first go
updated
round.
since they've been involved, or at least, well, it's also, if we haven't asked them to do it, they're not,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Right, yeah.
I don't think this, I think this is the first we've approached it and made, made any attempt to make a change there.
I would think it would be easier just to go an hour by hour by hour for every employee and make it a fair
I
number.
think so.
Why don't you table that until everybody's here and you can
Well,
consult?
that's my question, is that can we table this without creating an undue complication for the first of the year, because we can address it, in January, potentially, and maybe have some better
With
answers.
the results from HR.
Yeah, and
Hopefully by
and like I say,
then.
then we need to be able to analyze a little closer where we stand budget-wise, how we're gonna be affected, or as much as we can figure. What's your opinion on that, Amy? I'm leaning on you a lot on this.
Yeah, well, I mean, the worst part is, you know, having the holidays in the mix. I mean,
Well, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know how soon they're gonna get back with us, but, because something absolutely has to be done, but there again, like I said, yours is such a unique situation. I would, if it were me, I'd love for them just to have separate.
Yeah. Well, and of course, that one, as I look at this, one of the things that we have to, if we were to pass this in one form or another that we have in front of us tonight, there's some, just the item 2 on the beginning of this, where it applies to, you know, just the wording's have to be changed, it's got to be written up a little differently in terms of who it applies to and so forth. You know, are we applying it just to police, fire? Are we applying it to everybody, or how are we doing this?
So when you got the information from the surrounding communities that you contacted, that they send you copies of their,
Mhm.
can you send those to us?
Yeah. I can assure you nothing's written in days,
Well, and that's, yeah.
whatever that means.
No, I think
You
that's
know,
that's the main goal here, is to take care of that practice.
Right.
Without creating a lot of negative impact on either side. You know, that's the biggest thing. I don't want to create a real negative impact on the employees, but I also don't want to create a negative impact on the city, on budget.
True.
Yeah. And like I say, that may be workable in 26, but it might not as be workable in 27.
that's true.
Usually the law in government is thou shalt not take away. So if you give away too much at one time, then you're kind of stuck with it.
Is it something that Board of Works can look at and maybe put work into it? 'Cause
Hopefully.
it's not like you guys can all
Yeah,
sit
well,
down. and-
hopefully by the time we get an answer back from the HR gurus, I mean, I'm hoping it's before the Board of Works meetings and the next council meeting.
Well, my concern is getting it ironed out. Who's going to iron it out?
Well,
It obviously can't be solved in a.
no, I think we can.
Middle of the
I
council
think we
meeting.
can put do it with the Board of Works in terms of getting this
With the HR.
with
information.
HR and between, putting all our heads together on that. So,
Because I think it's important to bring to you, the council,
I mean, this is
something.
this is a stretch for me as far as doing this.
Right.
My business experience, is okay, but it doesn't apply very well to this in terms of this. So it's out there for me. I get it, but it's out there for me as far as
Because I don't
especially
want it
the
to
impact.
just be what I bring to the table or what's
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
table
sure.
or.
We got 2 weeks till next meeting, I believe, right?
It's
12th.
12th. Is that correct? 12?
I think so.
I just think it's important to
Now we
assign
can look down there.
people to get this ironed out.
Yeah. Okay, is that
You know,
sound workable?
what I'm kind of hopeful is the firm that we use, they do a lot of different communities around the state. So I'm hoping that maybe some of the books that,
So that he has,
yeah,
or,
that Mark's received, maybe they've already dealt with it.
Yeah.
So they may have all that verbiage already figured out.
okay,
We don't have to try to reinvent the wheel on it.
Right.
yeah. We probably maybe take a little closer at the impact of proposals as far as what, what's proposed here and, how we approach. And I, like I say, that conundrum of the use it or lose it on vacation time and then ending up in the end of the year, that's one of the things I want to know is
Yeah.
just how people in government have navigated this.
Well, we
You know,
do have that in our handbook. I just looked it up because I was thinking,
Yeah.
I'd seen something, and we do have it in there that there are, under certain circumstances, either the department manager, they can request to extend out someone. So, I mean, if there are circumstances kind of beyond their control, if you have someone sick or they just
I guess
can't
for
get
budget
in.
purposes, we're already budgeting in the time,
Well,
pay it out at the end of the year.
Yeah, well,
There's
that's,
something
if
left.
we're in the position where you could cash it out, if that were workable, that we budgeted, then that's an out in terms of that. And that may be what some are doing, is that you use it, cash it out, or lose it.
Right.
And if you're, which you're obviously you're going to cash it out. I mean, I'm just throwing, we're just talking about ideas there, not
A
committing
lot of
anything.
factories are that way.
But
At
if you
least
cash
it's
out, because
budgeted.
the biggest thing I'm concerned about with that, with government, I can do, in my business, I can roll money however I want it. I can roll money year to year. The accountant can sort that out easily enough. Whereas I don't know what we get into with satisfying the state of Indiana as far as if we roll that. I'd love to be able to just bank it and then say when they use it, then it pays out. But I don't know what State Board of Accounts is going to say, for instance, with that. Somebody's figured this out
Right.
a little better, because like I say, I get, that problem gets to be a concern in the other departments, but it's just that one of the things that Steve told me several years ago when we'd have discussions about vacations and things like that. He says, "Don't give me any more vacation days," because with the fire department particularly, you've got a 24-hour shift now you've got to cover for a vacation day. So if you throw another holiday in there, then it just costs more money. It doesn't, somebody's still going to work,
Right.
because somebody's working. So your
Probably with
department, police department, same way. Somebody's working.
Yeah.
Christmas Day, somebody was still working.
I could
So-
share out the ones that I've gathered. I can just ship it out to everyone so you can look at them and have an idea of what's what.
Are they from the state of Indiana?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I think that we need to be diligent about getting this done, and I'm happy to be involved in that as much as need be to do that, but so we can get it done as quickly as we can, but we need to get it done right.
Right.
So, okay. Visitors wishing to ask any questions or comments?
I'm gonna have lots of questions when you finally come up with something.
Oh, on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because of the way money has been spent on other things, I'm gonna absolutely see to it that our police and firemen are paid properly. Like I say, I'm more interested in the police department, but that, somebody needs to step up for the fire department too. But rest assured, if you don't take care of them,
Yeah.
I'll be telling you about it each and every time you vote. Because of some of the votes you've taken in the past on, you all know where you've wasted money.
Yeah.
And it's continuing to be wasted every time you vote. And I'm just not gonna stand idly by and let our policemen get the short end of the stick. Yeah.
I have got a couple of questions. One-
Sorry,
Can
we-
before you leave, hang on one second,
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
you leave, I wanted to say thank you for what you did for the Christmas stuff. We came up a little bit short, we were short, I will say that, leading up to about a week before we went to take all these kids shopping, and Bob came up and gave me a whole nother list of other ideas of how to approach people, and we ended up taking, either shop for or took like 120 something kids, and they were right at about $100 a kid is what we were able to spend.
That's awesome.
So we were short, and Bob came into the police department and he rallied me, I guess. We got out there and changed a couple things the way we went and got donations, and it really worked out for a lot of kids.
Good.
And without that program, I think there's a lot of kids that probably maybe went and got Christmas this year.
And one more thing before you leave, Bob, and because we all know, but would you, for the record, state your name and address?
Yeah, Bob Gentry, 521 North Plum Street, Union City.
Because I run a little lax here, and John, same thing. If you have any
Yeah.
My
comments.
name's
Appreciate it.
John Russ
You're more than welcome.
from 120 Pleasant Drive. Now, can I talk?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Thank you. This is more of a rumor than anything. I'm glad the policeman's here. Are they doing away with the High Side Police Department?
No, I
Have you heard anything
No.
about that?
I mean,
You're not doing away with the High Side Police Department, are you?
No.
You're still functioning as you have been.
Yeah.
The other question I got is on these police that we hire.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them end up in Richmond or Muncie or whatever. Is there any way to stop that?
That's been an eternal problem. That's been a pet peeve of mine, and I'm not no exclusives there, but that's been a real problem. It's kind of a and Mark can speak to it too if he'd like, but one of the things you have is that small departments get
It's like a
used
training ground.
as training grounds
Yeah.
for larger departments.
Yeah.
There was I don't know that there's been talk of legislation to create a payback system where, let's say, and I'll just use Muncie as an example of a city name. If Muncie hires an officer in a certain period of time, since he's been trained through us, that they would have to reimburse Union City.
I like that.
It's a great idea. It is that nobody's figured out how to do it in practice. That it really does what needs to be done there.
I don't think it's in place yet. is
It's
it?
not in
Yeah,
place, no.
I heard that on the
And,
news about a year,
of course,
maybe at least a year.
Part
ago.
of the problem is that our expenses on that are a little hard to track. We have the state of Indiana pays for the police academy, but we have to pay the officer while they're at the academy. We have expenses we have to pay, so it's a little bit abstract on what that is, and it varies department to department. The legislation that got proposed got picked apart pretty heavily on how fair it was and how it would work and whether it was even legal.
Well, it was
But-
fair to the small towns, but it wasn't fair to the big towns because the other ones gonna have to pay it out. I'll
at least acknowledge there's an effort put forth to address it and to recognize the problem. But yeah, this has always been a problem. Now, at the same time, we recently acquired an officer back that had worked for us before several years ago. There's
Comes around, comes around.
there are some perks to, or there are some good things for certain, for people to work in a small town like this. And some people prefer, everybody has their different desire of what they want. But,
Not as many nuts. Is that what you're saying?
well,
Or go to Richmond.
the call volumes can be less. We have pretty extensive volume of problems here, but probably lesser call volume.
Right.
We probably have a lot of the same problems, just maybe not buried in them. But Mark could probably, you may, I would say I'll leave that open for you because that's not my level of expertise. But
No, I just wanted.
so there are some good reasons to be in a community this size. But
I know a lot of people's complaints about it, but they ain't got no solutions evidently.
no,
so.
no.
Well, the problem is too, is when you first start out and your retirement's set up the way it is, and you get older and you think, one day I'll retire. Well, when they're basing it off of pay of the
Right. I know.
lowest
I understand.
non-promoted or highest non-promoted officer, I don't see how anyone could retire from
Yeah.
it, to be honest with you, and make
Decent
yeah.
wage.
The pension fund's not set up real good anyway, and I think it's a livable wage while they're doing it, but at a certain point in your career, you've got to think, what am I going to do when I'm done? And, well, the answer is nothing with what you're going to make, so, I think that's a huge factor when it comes to
Well, and it also,
your decisions.
there's you always have the migration. There's migration department to department, but then there's just migration out of law enforcement too.
Yeah. And it's a new generation. 10 cents is a lot of money for some on the hour.
Yeah, it's a problem, and we certainly don't have the answers as much as we would like to find them and looking for.
Well, like you say, 27 is going to be a rough year. 28 could be worse.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, no other questions? Date of the next council meeting, Monday, January 12th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Next Board of Works meeting, Monday, January 12th, 2026 at 1:45. Date of next economic redevelopment meeting, Wednesday, January 21st, 2026 at 6 p.m. assuming there's an agenda. And if no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Where's your hammer?